If you are an Arizona native, the Gabion wall design may not be foreign to you. All over the valley, I see this pattern repeated: a rust-colored metal cage containing medium-sized rocks. While they appear to be simple and have little impact, that is what I find so special about them. These rock cage walls serve as more than just an eye-catching visual. They can act as seating, columns, or direct the flow of pedestrian traffic. They are so versatile, all while being disguised as a straightforward sculpture. I selected this feature due to the nostalgia they bring. I remember being a child and watching these cages become more and more popular. They were one of the original reasons behind why I became interested with design. I began my model by precisely cutting out some metal fencing at a 1/3 scale. While it isn't exactly the same as the real-life cages, it serves the purpose enough for the proof of concept. The real cages are also rusted, so to achieve this effect, I soaked the fencing in vinegar for 15 minutes, and then hydrogen peroxide and salt for an hour. You can start to see the vinegar dissolving the outer layers of the steel. The difference is very minimal, but the vinegar has broken down the outer layer of the steel. Although this process is rather time-consuming, I am hoping for a successful outcome. Chemically rusting metal doesn't always work as well as one might hope. Now we will have to wait until tomorrow to see what our results are. Unfortunately, the chemical rusting was not as successful as I had hoped. While it is more common to see the metal rust naturally, there are a few examples, such as the column I based mine off of, that have been painted to appear a little darker. To make the cage, I used a spare wire to wind around the edges of each cage piece. Thanks to the assistance of a friend, I was able to obtain metal corner pieces that required minimal cutting and a splash of paint to match the rest of the cage. After welding the corners together and then to the cage, I once again added some paint so that everything would be cohesive. Next was the very tedious task of filling the cage with rocks. I tried my best to make sure very few leaves and feathers made their way inside. After carefully tipping it over, the cage was now complete. Being able to see the effect just this little column had against the sky as the day came to a close was enough to prove to me just why these walls are so prominent in the valley. All in all, I believe I did a fairly decent job in my recreation of this Gabion column. I certainly understand why Peter Zumthor believes this to be a fantastic way of understanding a vision one might have in their head. I absolutely will be using this method for future ideas.